Welcome to the SaferAfrica learning courses. My name is Sandra Vieira Gomes and I am a researcher from the National Laboratory of Civil Engineering of Portugal in the field of road safety. I will be your guide in Module 4 on safer roads. The Level 1 e-learning courses developed within this project are divided in 7 modules: concepts of road safety, data collection, road safety management, safe roads, safe users, safe vehicles, and finally post-crash care. You are now watching to the Model 4 on safe roads. This model includes 5 different sessions on road life cycle and general instruments for safety interventions at each stage, the driving task as related to road environment, impact of the safe system principles in road environment different stages, crash contributing factors related to the road environment, and methodologies to assess the effects of interventions.
The first session concerns the opportunities and general instruments for safety intervention at each stage of the road transport or street life cycle, namely planning, design, construction, operation, maintenance, and renewal. This slide presents the overall road life cycle in its different stages of development, from the formal design to its conservation and renewal. It starts from the design and construction phase, to which follows the operation phase, where monitoring and maintenance activities should take place, and in some cases there is the need for corrections, which are of course again connected with planning and design and construction phase. The safety impact assessment appears within the supervision and analysis of the system and may generate the need for redefining the system conception and its following phases of planning and design. Let's have a look at each one of these phases now. The road life cycle begins with the system conception. This phase corresponds to the identification of the needs to meet and the consequent definition of both the functional requirements to be satisfied and the generic technical characteristics that will enable them to be met. This corresponds, for instance, to the definition of the type of road we want to build, number of lanes or the width of the elements, etc. The instruments for safety intervention that can be applied to this phase are the road safety impact assessments. As described by the EU Directive on Road Infrastructure Safety Management, the road safety impact assessments are strategic assessments of the impact of different planning options for a new road or for substantial modifications to an existing road on the safety performance of the road network. After the system is defined, it is time to proceed to the planning phase. The planning phase is essential to ensure that the transport objectives of the community are met with an acceptable level of quality. It is a matter of programming the development, improvement, or relocation of road infrastructures, taking into account the local constraints, namely physical, land use, environmental, and their interaction with relevant policy factors at several levels: local, regional, national, and community levels. For this phase, the road safety impact assessments are also the proper instruments to use for safety interventions. The design phase follows the planning phase. The design phase corresponds to the definition of the geometric characteristics and physical occupation of the road zone, namely access roads, intersections, vertical and horizontal alignments, and cross-section definition. In urban areas, the design of the street is closely associated with the urban design itself. Marginal land use plays an important part on street design, and it has a direct link to number and type of users of each space. On rural roads, this phase also covers aspects related to rest areas or the provision of other user support services. It applies either to new roads or to the reconstruction of existing roads. Road design comprises the full definition of geometric characteristics of the road needed for a proper construction. This activity is based on the technical knowledge about traffic engineering and human behavior of the users, drivers, pedestrians, and others. The instruments for safety intervention that can be applied to this phase are the road safety audits, which is the process of checking schemes designs for potential road safety problems and their recommendations for improvement, with the aim of mitigating the risk of accidents and, of course, reducing their consequences. When the design is ready, it is time for the construction. The construction phase corresponds to the materialization of the elaborated project, sometimes involving small adjustments due to the reality found in the work. Road safety audits are also applied to the construction phase in order to guarantee that operational road safety experience is applied and properly executing according to the design, assuring that the number and severity of accidents is kept to a minimum. A road safety audit applied to the construction stage should analyze, for example, if the work zone traffic controls are protecting road users and construction workers. When the road is built, it is time to let it open to traffic. Once built and open to traffic, the road enters the operation phase, in which the aspects of traffic management are of particular relevance. These aspects have to do with traffic regulation, the safety equipment, and the criteria for its application. The lack of a good traffic regulation system, either by absence of a proper equipment or due to a poor enforcement, is crucial for road safety. In this phase, the detection and treatment of high-risk sites is very common, which is also considered an effective instrument for safety intervention. It is important to ensure the good performance of the road and the satisfaction of the expectations of their users. This can be assessed through a continuous monitoring and analysis of the road. In this phase, the operation of the infrastructure should be regularly analyzed regarding a set of performance indicators previously defined. Instruments for safety intervention in this stage include road safety inspections for smaller lengths of roads or specific problematic spots, and a network-wide road assessment for major areas, which have the benefit of receiving integrated and harmonized recommendations for improvements, which not always happens with isolated road safety inspections. The road infrastructure is subject to degradation effects, which naturally generates the need for maintenance activities. This degradation is mainly due to the wear and tear caused by the passage of traffic and the action of atmospheric agents dependent on the characteristics of the materials used and the evolution of the transport system itself. This degradation may affect the convenient functioning of the traffic and determines the need to carry out actions to restore the original conditions of the road in a regular, timely, and systematic way, which corresponds to the conservation phase. It should be noted that road infrastructure should be subject to corrective actions when the levels of functionality or safety are more demanding than those initially required. These corrections may require a return to the initial phases of system conception, planning, design, and construction. The correction phase corresponds to the elimination or at least mitigation of the effects of deficiencies in the infrastructure, in most cases identified in the monitoring phase. These deficiencies are not always the result of errors or failures at the project or construction level. Often they are the consequence of unexplained or unexpected evolution of the user's use of the road. As a way to facilitate the incorporation of advances in road safety knowledge in new road projects or rehabilitation of existing roads, the concept of safety impact assessment was proposed, which can be carried out through different procedures in each stage. In the conception phase, through the use of updated road design standards. In the planning phase, through the analysis of alternative solutions. In the design phase, through road safety audits. This is all for the session 2 on the road life cycle and general instruments for safety intervention at each stage. Thank you for your attention. You can download a PDF of this presentation from the website and also a PDF with references and further readings on this subject. I invite you to watch the next session on safe roads, the driving task as related to the road environment.